Say, what's going on over at Star Wars? Well, not much that anyone's really interested in anymore, you know, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. So, Mandalorian Season 3 is coming, so there's people interested in that, and that's the best you can hope for Star Wars, is these individual shows that might be of interest to you. Andor was good, but nobody watched it. I guess if they check it out and binge it now, maybe they, it's not bad. It's not really Star Wars type material, but it's kind of an okay show, unlike Boba Fett and Kenobi and, So anyway, one of the hopes that seems highly unlikely was that they would do something narratively anyway. It's kind of late to fix it overall, but that narratively they would jettison what the sequel trilogy brought to the franchise. And seemingly Carl Weathers may have let the cat out of the bag when he mentioned Star Wars Multiverse. So he tweeted that, promoting Season 3, and there's this poster of, there, look at that, huh? Daddy and his baby. Yeah. You think they'll have Din Djarin wearing an apron and working in the kitchen? So anyway, I says, come on, y'all. This Mandalorian poster is too cool. Love being part of the Star Wars multiverse. Well, this kind of thing sets off a flurry. Why? Why would it? Well, as he used to, the sequel trilogy was actually this story with Thrawn and all that. But then they made it Legends. Yeah. But said, hey, that doesn't mean it's gone for good and all that crap. But they did it so that the sequel trilogy would have a surprise in it. Oh, boy, did it. Yeah, it sure did. But meanwhile, Filoni had his Star Wars Rebels, and they introduced this concept of a world between worlds. And so Ezra Miller discovers this aspect of the Star Wars universe that we didn't know about, and they led him to these portals, different points in time where he heard voices of Yoda and Obi-Wan and stuff like that. And he ends up saving Ahsoka Tano, where she seemingly died in a battle with Darth Vader. And so there's Ahsoka, and the story seemed to suggest that time could be changed and all this type of stuff. And so going back to that, you think, well, there you go. There's your solution. Because unlike, Doctor Who and Star Trek, which has tons of time travel in it, you have the ability to narratively forget all the new crap and start over back in the real universe of Star Trek. And Doctor Who, much the same. But Star Wars never did any time travel or anything until this. And so this jumps ahead to, hey, what about Ahsoka Tano? Her show's on its way. And then, hey, Doomcock talked about this way back in 2020. And I know him. And that was the deal. He says, look, here's a pathway to correct all of this. I mean, it would still say, oh, in another timeline, the sequel trilogy happened, but no one's going to care or ever want to go back to it. And the key to it is that the Emperor, Darth Sidious, tries to gain access to this, and Ezra stops him. That this is something he was after. Well, and they come up with a narrative, maybe he did, and that's what altered things. But as far as the hopes that the Ahsoka series would lay the groundwork even further for that is within the logo of the show. It has all the, these little world between world things in it. And it's like, now, granted, that's important to her character because the very reason she's around is because of that. So you could just say, oh, that's what it means. But this article goes into details. These giant wolves I didn't know much about, but in Rebels demonstrated they had the ability to travel between worlds. And apparently she's riding one of them, the Loth wolves, in the series. So if that's the case, so it's a rumor from some Making Star Wars claims that Ahsoka will ride a Loth wolf in the upcoming live-action series. which just adds to the idea. Well, she's got a wolf that can just take off. She doesn't even have to go to those portals or anything into the world between worlds. Then it gives the idea that perhaps Ahsoka could find the way to the proper timeline where things turned out very different after Return of the Jedi, and not, Force Awakens and Last Jedi. So anyway, gee, would they do that? Well, they need to do something. And at this desperation, that would gain a lot of excitement to return back. Now, they've been burned twice. There was Last Jedi. That was a hydrogen bomb to the franchise. And then, wouldn't you know it, they managed to restore interest and excitement with Mandalorian Season 3's ending. And then they fired Gina Carano and all the nastiness that went with that. And following that, they delivered Boba Fett and then Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And it's over at this point. So this is really the only card you have left to play. Would they play it? I don't know. Would they instead do a thing where Ahsoka becomes the real hero of the original trilogy? Luke dies early on, and so she has to fulfill his destiny, and they do something like that. Yeah, well, then, if they even had the money left at that point to continue with that narrative, after suggesting it, could they even finish it? No, but if they did do something akin to a multiverse solution to where we just forget that the sequel trilogy ever happened. But then you got to do a new sequel trilogy, and in what form? Sadly, Carrie Fisher is gone. The moment of that reunion was there, and you will never get it back. So that's that. Narratively, sure, you could tell any story you want, but would that be enough to reset Star Wars so that it's a great franchise again? That remains somewhat dubious, But yeah, this is the only card left to play. Will they do it? And they're pretty desperate, How's that Galactic Star Cruiser going? oh, it was canceled for the summer? Oh, no. Well. So Ahsoka to the rescue? Well, we'll see.